Canada has been one of those countries that has been the most steadfast with Ukraine. In my many conversations with Ursula about the sanctions we've brought in together, the military support, the financial support that we've had over the years, every step of the way, I've stood up and said, Canada will be there with everything it takes for as long as it takes to support Ukraine. And I've actually boasted to her and to others that it's not a political debate in Canada. All parties in Canada stand with Ukraine. So it is particularly troubling to see, even though we are seeing a rise of right-wing rhetoric in the United States with MAGA conservatives, across Europe in certain corners of right-wing politicians and parties starting to pull their support for Ukraine, starting to parrot Russian disinformation and misinformation and propaganda, that suddenly the Conservative Party of Canada would choose to not stand with Ukraine in something that they need, that the Ukraine is asked for, and to use the frankly absurd excuse that it's because Ukraine will be bringing in a price on pollution in the coming years. Obviously, that's an excuse, but it's not the real story. The real story is the rise of a right-wing American MAGA-influenced thinking that has made Canadian conservatives, who used to be among the strongest defenders of Ukraine, and I'll admit it, turn their backs on something Ukraine needs in its hour of need. That is the danger of the rise of the right-wing influence that is feeling its impact in Canada. That's what not just Ukrainian Canadians, but all Canadians should be concerned about when the Conservative Party of Canada and Pierre Poilievre turn their backs on history, turn their backs on our friends and allies, turns their backs on the international rules-based order and our support for the UN Charter and territorial integrity. It is of real concern and should be of concern to all of us, because we're seeing that spiking up all around the world.
We voted against Justin Trudeau forcing a carbon tax into that pre-existing agreement. Conservatives understand how devastating the carbon tax has been for Canadians. It's caused 2 million people to go to a food bank every single month, 7 million Canadians not eating enough to stay healthy. We never had these problems before Justin Trudeau and his costly carbon tax. Now he wants to quadruple the tax. And just to show you how pathologically obsessed Trudeau is with his tax, he did something that has never been done in the history of trade agreements, which is to put a carbon tax in one. The people of Ukraine are now he expects them to rebuild from a war with a devastating and crippling tax on their energy. The Ukrainian farmers, he expects them to pay a carbon tax while they're trying to feed their hungry people. This is cruel, and frankly, it is disgusting.